Hello and welcome to the B2B e-commerce talk. My name is Arno and today we are doing an IT stand-up. That means we are interviewing the most important people in running e-commerce, the people from IT. So today I have with me Alberto. He's the IT manager at Hawk Research Laboratories with a background in IT. So welcome Alberto.
Hey Arno, thanks for having me.
Thanks, thank you. So Alberto, I'm curious, I'm always asking, what got you in IT in the first place?
Uh, so, so ever since I was little, I wanted to build robots and program video games and things like that. It quite didn't happen that well, but I did find a love for computers, ITs, the logic, programming. When I was in third grade, my parents put me into a class in school
Mm-hmm.
that covered kind of like flow charts and things like that, basic programming. There was a little triangle cursor that we would use to draw and give it commands. And ever since then, I found my love for computers and I understand the logic. It's very simple for me.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm more or less at the same feeling, when you have that moment that a computer is doing something for you, you want to do more with it, you want to automate
Yeah,
stuff. That is the
yeah,
cool thing, right? That's how you yeah, how people get interested in IT. So yeah, that sounds very familiar. So and Alberto, ad hoc. So yeah, maybe for the listeners, what is exactly what your role exactly entails?
So my role's a little unique here.
Hmm.
I tend to do everything.
Okay.
So I manage our IT vendors.
Yes.
I assist other sister companies as well with IT stuff. I personally am here, besides managing the servers, the network. I'm also managing the computers, the copy machines, the printers, the phone system. We have a VoIP phone system, our faxes, basically everything technology wise here, even the website, Sana, all that stuff. My hands are everywhere in relation to technology and IT.
Yeah, I understand. So yeah, once you're a little bit handy with computers, or if you have your background, you did your studies or something in IT or in computer science, they're gonna find you for everything related to
Yes,
technology, right? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, no, I know how that feels sometimes, because yeah, besides of what I shared in previous podcasts as well, besides of my role as chief product officer here at Sana, just building the product, I'm also responsible for the internal IT affairs of our 500 employees. So yeah, that is just to said, okay, yeah, you have your background in computer science, you can also take that part. So, but anyway, it's like a hobby for me, so I love to do that. All right,
yeah,
so even running the coffee machines, that's important as well, right?
yes.
You need to keep them running. All right. So yeah, before going more in depth about the IT topics, so tell us a little bit more about Hawk. So what makes you guys unique? What do you selling? What type of customers? What do you want to share about
Yeah.
that?
So Hawk is a little unique from your regular e-commerce stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We can only sell currently we can only sell a lot of our chemicals and stuff to people that
Okay.
are certified. So we have to have a restriction on our e-commerce site, so not anybody can just come in and buy the products. And a lot of it has to do similar with paints.
Okay.
We do special type of coating that goes in for to refinish bathtubs, countertops, cabinets. So there's different chemicals being used, different types of thickness in paints, dry time, all kinds of stuff. We started also doing epoxy, molding. We started doing um, garage floors, basement floors, things like that. So we come up with the different types of coatings,
Yeah.
and then we market it and sell it that way. We had very unique scenarios where there's a set of resin, catalyst, reducer. There's also kits that we sell. There's also custom colors that we create and we do, or we need to get captured from the customer. Um, so there's a lot of uniqueness in relation
Yeah.
to some layers of paint.
Yeah. sounds sounds easy that you say, hey, you sell coatings or you sell paint, but in a B2B space, a lot of complexity around it, right? As you mentioned that. So
Yeah,
if you shared, yeah, it needs to be a restricted area because you need to be certified because probably these chemicals are not for everyone. You need to know how to use it because yeah, it can be maybe dangerous or something or
yes,
um,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So that's often what we're seeing in the B2B space, and that's also yeah makes it interesting for me as well. It's just not something you can buy on Amazon or something. There's so much more that people are
Correct.
selling between businesses, and yeah, like Hawk, you're one of those companies that are really important in for your customers because and they can do their job and to build these grass floors or something like that. But they need to do it with the right tools, and that's what you're supplying and the correct products that you're supplying. So, yeah, sounds like a lot of complexity, and we will talk about that more and how the relation with IT is there. So, um, yeah, nice to and maybe to have a little bit more perspective on the company size. So you're focusing mostly on the Americas or certain areas of the US where you're selling.
So we sell all over America. We
Okay,
sell in the UK.
all
We
right,
sell in
international as well.
Ireland. Yes, yeah, Ireland, Dubai, Australia, and that also comes in really great with Sana,
Yeah.
because we have unique products that we sell to only certain locations. Certain customers get unique colors,
Wow. Yeah.
and certain customers get products with their name on it. But we sell worldwide.
All
Um,
right.
but we do a lot of business out in the UK and Dubai and Ireland.
Interesting. Yeah. Also, the internationalization part of B2B e-commerce can be very complex and yeah, definitely a nice topic to talk a little bit further on today. So, yeah, more on the IT topic. So, you're managing everything, Alberto. I already heard you're
Yeah.
sharing that. Um, about fighting fires. So, how much of your time is spent on solving issues as they come up versus time that you can spend on, innovating, new, replacing stuff, trying new things?
So it's hard to say because it's all with timing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's times where we have big projects and my time gets consumed a lot with the big projects. But then what I like about the company that I work for is it's flexible and they understand.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
they see the fires that are going on. So when I
Mhm.
have to deal with that, they understand and we arrange the time and stuff and there's no extreme urgency in that sense. But I find a lot of my time trying to find ways to improve our current processes. I had some downtime and we were doing inventory and I ended up creating a program using Power Apps.
Yeah.
So I learned how to use that program, never used it before, but I reduced the inventory from taking 3 to 4 days to basically 3/4 of a day. So they
Wow.
would finish in one day and have time to spare.
Yeah.
So, and I always look at ways to improve our processes, improve our things, and I guess that was a culture mentality built from my previous companies that I worked at.
Yeah. No. Awesome. Really great example. Power Apps, maybe for the listeners, is one of these, let's say, low code, no code platforms from Microsoft, where you can create applications easily, um, which are of course on the Microsoft ecosystem, or actually, yeah, it also works with actually applications outside of it, or which integrates with them. Um, yeah, I also had that same experience. If you talk about internal stuff, I think we did with we use Power Apps now also with a couple of scenarios. And one thing I can remember from the teams from one of my teams working on it is was the onboarding process because yeah, although
Yeah.
we are an IT company, onboarding a new person, getting them on all those tools. Of course, we have Active Directory and all that stuff, but still, you need to do some manual stuff. So that was still around 90 minutes or so on average to just to onboard a person. And yeah, if we are onboarding, I think 150 to 200 new employees per year. So you can imagine it's quite a time that you take that it takes from the organization. So we automated that also with Power Apps and Power Automate, and we reduced the time from 90 minutes to 2. So yeah, it's a huge impact, right?
Yeah.
And shows the importance, I think, and the future of low code, no code, and also something we really embrace at Sana from our internal IT affairs, but it's also really inspiring for me as a product that I think we need to build products like we do with Sana, that you have things like the visual designer or this automation, with the ERP that was actually low code, no code, that you can with a few clicks you can get things done without programming a lot or so, right? So that's really important and yeah, really a future direction that we believe in, I would say. So yeah, it's nice
Definitely.
that you share that, Alberto. So um, yeah, talking a little bit more maybe about the um, and that we frequently hear that um, yeah, resources are expensive, of course, and scarce, and that's also helping with yeah, things like low code, no code, that you can automate stuff and it saves you resources. But how is it for you as an IT manager? Are you just are you a one person doing everything, or you have some people around you doing helping you with the IT affairs as well?
Uh, so you can say I'm a one person doing everything,
Oh wow, yeah.
but I'm very lucky. My
Hmm.
boss is CFO, the Chief
Okay.
Financial Officer,
Yeah.
but he has experience with computers and programming and stuff. So there's times where he actually will come out and help me
Hmm.
when we're doing certain things. I have three people that we use heavily for our Microsoft Dynamics Nav.
Okay.
That's a vendor, third party
Yeah.
incest. Uh, so, and they're the ones that actually recommended Sana to us.
Yes.
So I work with them on a lot of projects, but they'll help me with a lot of the nav issues
Yeah.
that may come up.
Exactly.
But otherwise, it's mostly me for.
All right. Yeah, no, that's great to hear because and that you can handle everything by yourself. And the NAV, maybe for the listeners, that is your system of record or your ERP system from Microsoft as well. So and yeah, with Sana we integrate nicely with that. So yeah, we frequently hear that Sana Commerce is the IT's choice. So would you agree? So and what benefits do you get from it as an IT manager?
Yeah, so Sana, I've done some research prior
Hmm.
to going with Sana, right? And a lot of the issues is Microsoft Dynamics Navision, specifically, doesn't have much integrations or compatibilities with other stuff. But Sana makes it so easy to like once it's set up, it's so easy, and you understand on how to get the product images, how to get the items on there, how to select which customers get what items, and it's all integrated. So when someone buys something, it's automatically checking your inventory, depleting inventory. Everything's all automated. We have the CSRs that can review the orders. We have customers that can see the orders not only placed by CSRs but also by the website itself. And there's many more features that Sana has that we kind of haven't fully um, got into using them.
Hmm.
But and then we see that the new versions of Sana, so we recently upgraded to 9.333, I believe, which is not the latest and current, but we did see that there's a lot of integrations put into place.
True.
So we were looking at possibly so we use eShip, we use um, ChargeLogic, and we see integrations with ChargeLogic. And then we were looking at I forgot the name of the product, but you guys have that product as well, where we can customize items and build kits and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Um,
So another add-ons to let's say to hey, you're actually elaborating a little bit more on the other add-ons or things you're working with in the Microsoft ecosystem, like Charge Logics and eShip, what you mentioned. So there are maybe
yeah,
for the listeners there are a lot of yeah, around the NAV, the system of record or Microsoft ERP system. There are a lot of add-ons on top of it to add a lot of things, and Sana's nicely integrating with them as well. So
yeah,
yeah, well, you mentioned a couple of things, so let me clarify that a
sure.
little bit more, or that's really interesting because you're actually solving in these 2 3 sentences. You're mentioning a lot of complexity that is being solved, for example. Um, but let's first dive into about the integration, because also, yeah, that is one of the reasons why we of course started Sana. But yeah, not talking about only about Sana, but just let's say choosing software or buying software, which I also do for running our business. Is yeah, the integration part is often so everybody is mentioning it, but there is such a big difference still that we hear from our customers like you, or from other people in the industry, that yeah, everybody wants that systems work together, right? And that you do not want to run into these problems. But we see still the reality is still so different, right? That you mentioned, yeah, there are not that many vendors that integrate so nicely with NAV. But the same story applies maybe for CRM or for other systems. And yeah, if I'm doing this interview already for a while, and if talking with other IT managers, directors, they sharing all the time. Let's say, yeah, from our IT budget, we are spending so much time on integration or making it work. And if it doesn't come out of the box, okay, yeah, they share, okay, there are APIs or there are web services, but that's just the start of the journey, right? To make that
Yeah.
functionally work is a second thing. So it's nice that you mentioned that. And that you're benefiting from it, because I truly believe that we, as you know, as software vendors, we need to invest more, I think, in working together and make these systems integrate nicely, because yeah, these things should just work out of the box or should be easy configurable, so that customers like you, people, can just spend their time on the value or running the business, right? So that's one thing. um and they should not waste their time or their expensive resources in maintaining all of these. So, and the other thing is that you mentioned is that it's also, so because of this, it's so easy to manage the platform, and to actually all those complex stuff comes, yeah, more or less automatically, right? You're something complex for maybe for what you hear from other vendors, like selecting which products to be displayed. It's very important for your business, because yeah, one customer cannot buy a certain product, or it's not allowed for another product or another customer, right? So there are a lot of rules around that, nicely stored in NAV. But yeah, it's often hard to have that on your storefront. And yeah, these are one of the things we are solving with Sana, and I'm happy to hear that you're benefiting from it. So yeah, hopefully that's some inspiration for other IT managers to make that step as well. And yeah, so the the other things that you're mentioning is um, the internationalization, right? So if you're doing business with the UK or with Dubai even, um, yeah, I think also products comes with different pricing, right? And or different currencies. So yeah, how does that work um, in your situation, Alberto? Is that I think also all stored in NAV, right?
Yes. So that's the nice thing, is that the fluency of the system. Sana is not dictating the currency. What's dictating the currency is how the customer is set up in Nav. And all that stuff comes over. So all the special rules that we have created in Nav flows through um, Sana. Even though Sana has the ability to do a lot of this stuff on its own,
Hmm.
and there's times where I'm like, man, I wish Nav was so much more easier, because Sana has all these capabilities, but it's confined to these like limitations on the discount rules for Nav
Hmm.
that would flow over. But it's nice because we have a lot of custom pricing for our customers,
Yeah.
and we have different tiers and things like that, and different rules for internationals. So I'm able to capture all that in Nav and not have to recreate it in Sana. It's already there, and
Exactly.
everything flows through.
Yeah.
And then you have the option too, if the system goes down, whether or not to allow customers to buy stuff. Um, so we played with those settings as well, and it works very well, to where you then on the next day when everything's back up, you see, hey, I have 5 orders that I need to process. This
Hmm.
is what was in there. Is everything correct? And then you can process those customer orders.
Yeah.
We chose not to go that route because we don't have everybody constantly checking the site. So we don't
Hmm.
want to miss any customer orders. We'd
Exactly.
rather have them reach out to us. But it's nice that Sana has all that flexibility, and you could tell that it's more of a premium product. Um, there's other times where we see stuff like WooCommerce, and WooCommerce has all these plugins and all these other things, and we played around with it as well, and it's nice, and it has a lot more capabilities. But the problem that you run into is all these plugins sometimes don't act well with each other,
Yes.
and then you have a lot of issues because it's open source, and you just deal with with all the things where you can appreciate Sana in the sense of, hey, it just works. Hey, it integrates with everything where I don't have to do anything special. I don't have to worry about a plugin needing an update or a plugin breaking the site, or someone hacking the site.
Yeah.
It's more of a premium product.
Yeah, yeah. So what you mentioned as well, there are other vendors, of course, in the market that have a lot of plugins available, and also what we are seeing is that it is nice on one hand, but yeah, if they are functionally working, all that you want is always a second thing, right? And if they are working together is even more important. But yeah, you're mentioning a lot of things that is saving your time, so that's great to hear because your task list, as you mentioned in the beginning, is pretty long. You're taking as a one man band, you're taking everything for the company, which is impressive. And yeah, that's possible if you choose the right tools, right? And I think that is great to hear. So um, yeah, maybe another point that I want uh, to focus on is the fact. Let's say, so if you um, um, let's say, yeah, run into some hurdles, or what is this something that keeps you up at night now still in your job, and why, or is everything just flowing easily?
I mean, there's always things that have you worried, right? The network, power outages, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and things like that. But not with, I guess not with our integration with Nav and Sana.
Okay.
All that
Maybe
stuff seems
security
to work.
topics or something. You mentioned that about other
So
systems, about hacking and so on.
yeah, so I talked to so uh, Karen or Karine. She's our solution specialist. So I
Yeah.
had questions with everything going out in the Ukraine. So she gave me a lot of answers to make me feel comfortable. How, yes, that if something does happen in the sense of the Sana side, that you
Hmm.
guys will completely, disconnect us.
Yeah.
So then there's no issues of people trying to get in through your side to come into to our side. And she mentioned the team and how they communicate and all these processes. So it wasn't something that she just came up with on the fly, and it shows that when she did come back with that information, that everything was well documented. There was a
Yeah.
process already in place for everything. So it's something that I don't have to worry about. I have another team, you guys, managing that portion of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it helps me sleep at night, especially with all the stuff that you've been hearing on the news, you know.
No, of
Um,
course. Yeah, maybe, yeah, for the listeners, what you're aiming on, or what you're talking about is, of course, there's this terrible war going on in the Ukraine. So, and at
yeah.
Sana, we have also one of our development centers is actually in Ukraine. They are, going through a terrible situation at the moment. But it's remarkable to say that a lot of these great boys and girls are still working for Sana and actually helping our customers. But also from a security topic, we get a lot of questions. Say, hey, yeah, what's going on? Is our data safe, or how is it involves us? And obviously, yeah, even before the war, we have a lot of measures that we do to make sure that our customers are safe in general, not only for the Ukraine, but every person that is in touch with customer data, if necessary, because that's already the first thing. Not everybody gets involved in customer data or whatsoever. We try to avoid it also a lot, but there's a lot of things in place and structured how we work, of course, as an IT company, or as the software that we are building. And not only that, we are also being certified that other vendor, or let's say other parties, third parties, are checking and certifying us if we are doing things in a secure way and in a good job. So and I think that's a hygiene factor. That's just a must that we need to do, right? But It's often forgotten that it's so important to focus on it and spend time on this as well. And we're doing that with regular security audits, but also training, and it goes all around through the organizations in different levels. So, but yeah, that's good that you mentioned that yeah, cybersecurity or the importance of customer data and keeping that secure is yeah really top priority for us. But also, as you mentioned, that it's, for you it's important as well, because otherwise if that would not be in in safe hands, it's something that would keep you up at night. So definitely can share that you're a good. And yeah, also with the integration. So have most of your of like say all of your data is still in your system of record in NAV. And that's also one of the reasons why we other reasons why we built this integration, because yeah, why copying all this data over and over, and making copies of data is always a security risk. So if you can keep it in NAV and we are just using that in real time when we need it, is safer than just copying it around or exporting it, importing it, and so on and so on. So yeah, that's also I think one of the reasons why we are more secure than other vendors, in that sense that we are yeah really only use the data when it's necessary and when you're authorized to see it. Especially in the cases that you're mentioning in B2B, that you, for example, one customer can just see something and another customer can absolutely not. That can be pricing, can be inventory, can be also the products that you want to order or need to order, right? It's all really restricted. So all right, thanks for sharing that, Alberto. And yeah, so maybe I know you have already a lot of freedom. That's what you mentioned earlier, Alberto. But if imagine if you would be the CEO of Hawk, what would you and you wake up, what would be something that you would change, or the first thing you would do?
Um, I don't know. I mean, at this point, nothing. I mean, everything seems to be running smoothly,
Cool.
and that's the main thing, is that it's uh, you know, I would say like, hey, maybe give everybody a raise, but but
That's always good.
but in serious, a lot of factors is how's our customers. Our
Hmm.
customer seems to be happy.
Exactly.
They're now loving that the fact that they can order online.
Hmm.
We have good employees. It's like a family environment here, and I think our CEO has done a great job, um, kind of putting a lot of it together. And he does a lot of work. Like he goes out to customers, is on there on weekends. He puts a lot of hard time and effort, trying to also assist in getting new business, and stuff that a lot of people may not realize.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't necessarily think I'd want to have his job. I think he's doing a really great job,
Cool.
um,
Great
at the
to hear.
moment.
And you mentioned very important stuff, right? So, talking to your customers, be engaged there, and actually giving you that freedom and flexibility, I think is very important as well. Something we are some values we are seeing at Sana as well. So, yeah, maybe last question, at least from my side, is: do you have any tips for, let's say, other IT managers or leaders um, that are upgrading or maybe starting to implement a B2B e-commerce a solution. So, any learnings to share for them?
Yeah, so a lot of it is, like the beginning part may be a little, trying just to kind of first understand everything.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like that you guys have the Sun University,
Yeah.
and I've gone through it, and then you have everything modularized. So I keep finding myself going through, being able to find a specific module, and each of these modules are short, 5, maybe 10 minutes at the longest, type things to figure out how to do certain things. So it's nice that I can always go back, and use it. So, one, I would make sure you're on the Sana University. And I know training with time and everything can sometimes be difficult, but they have modules that you can go specifically with.
I think the first bit that you mentioned as well is really understand how a system works, or doesn't matter if it's Sana or something else, but also in the journey to go more into software as a service or standardized solutions. I think it's always great if you get the maximum out of the tool, right? And before just trying to customize it or trying to modify it, because most of the time, at least what's my experience talking with customers, a lot of this is already available in the tooling supplied, and that's not only for Sana or NEV, but just how that you understand how to use it. And there is already so many customers that had already the same kind of scenario. So definitely there is a solution for before inventing the wheel by yourself. So yeah, that's a great tip, Alberto, as well, that you uh, invest some time to really understand what goals do you want to achieve as a company, and yeah, what's the vendor able to do, so what's available in the product, and as an IT manager try to match that. I think that's a great tip. Is there any questions still from your side, or something you would like to know from me about internal IT or about Sana? Feel free to ask any questions.
Thanks. I've been getting, so we have the Sana customer support specialist, Karen.
Mm.
She's been keeping me updated on all the new, the Sana Cloud and all
Yeah.
the new stuff coming in. She even got us a little test site in there so we can kind of
Oh
have a
wow.
preview of it.
Nice.
So thanks to her, I've been staying informed, and she's been a really great asset as well.
Cool. Nice to hear. Thanks for all the compliments, and thanks that you're a happy customer, Alberto. And yeah, if we just summarize a little bit of talk today, so I think it was very nice and interesting how you shared that, how to the B2B complexity that comes with your business, how yeah integration can help IT managers to solve these things, to automate that. And the role of low code, no code, we also touched upon a little bit, and you shared a couple of tips. Yeah, if you're upgrading or implementing a new B2B e-commerce solution, and the trick there is really to understand the solution first and the goals that you want to meet, of course, for the business. So yeah, from my side, thank you very much, Alberto. This was very insightful. Really nice talking to you. And yeah, hopefully see you again later on.
Likewise, thank you, Arno.
All right. Enjoy your day.
All right, take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.